Have you ever wondered why, despite all our education and achievements, we still feel incomplete? Why do some answers forever escape us? Today's Satsang dives deep into one of life's greatest mysteries: ignorance. Not just a lack of knowledge, but a hidden force that shapes how we think, feel, and live. What are the types of ignorance? Physical, mental, spiritual? How do we carry it through lifetimes? And most importantly, how can it end? From ancient stories to profound truths, this discourse offers a mirror to your inner world. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear may change how you see everything.
Today's spiritual discourse is about ignorance. What are the different types of ignorance? How many levels does it have? And how can one rise above ignorance? This is a very difficult subject, because we live in ignorance. Our life is in ignorance. We leave the body while still in ignorance. And then we are born again. This ignorance has been continuing for countless lifetimes. There is no end to it. And ignorance can end only when we become one with the divine. We cannot understand God. We cannot even share anything about Him from our own experience. Only by drowning ourselves in the divine does our ignorance come to an end. And we become pure like gold and diamond. So first, we must understand. What is ignorance? The greater the ignorant person is, the more he believes himself to be knowledgeable. Ignorance has great power. Ignorance means a state of sleep. When you wake up from sleep, you feel powerful. Similarly, the more ignorant a person is, the more ego he has, and the more he considers himself powerful. Someone once asked Socrates, "Brother, you know everything." Socrates replied, "I only know one thing, that I know nothing." Look at the greatness of that answer. I only know one thing, that I know nothing. This one statement reflects his whole personality. He said on his final day, "Earlier I used to think I knew something. Now I have realized completely that there's only one thing I truly know. That I know nothing." This is the highest state of true knowledge. The more you know, the more you will feel that you know nothing. Because this journey is so infinite. And there is so much to know within it, that a person cannot truly know anything in just one lifetime. The one who knows everything, who truly knows all, is only the Supreme Being. No matter how much knowledge we may think we possess, we still live in a state of ignorance. Now look, there are 3 levels of ignorance: physical level, mental level, spiritual level. Don't be under the illusion that just by being on the spiritual level, one becomes fully enlightened. No. Even spiritual knowledge is so vast that one cannot dive fully into it. So ignorance remains even there. Mentally, we are very ignorant. And physically, describing the extent of our ignorance is almost impossible. Just look at our own body. We have a physical body. We have taken birth millions of times, and have left the body just as many times. So many people have been with us throughout these births. They too have taken birth countless times and left this world. Yet, even physically, we have no real knowledge. Take a simple example. We eat food, grains. From that food, blood is formed in our body. But science has no laboratory and no understanding of how just 2 pieces of bread or roti can generate so much energy. How they form blood. And from that blood, how our flesh, marrow, brain, and bones are formed. How does such immense power emerge from such a small amount of food, barely 20 or 30 grams? This, too, is a great sign of our ignorance. A cow eats grass and yet gives milk. How does milk get produced from grass? We do not know. Still, we consider ourselves to be highly knowledgeable. A person studies for 5 to 7 years and becomes a doctor. And then becomes full of pride, thinking, I am a doctor. But if he honestly reflects on his own knowledge, he will realize that his knowledge is only surface level, only external. He doesn't truly understand it from within. Based on his learning, he gives medicine to a patient. But he has no idea how that medicine is truly affecting the body. Not every medicine works the same for every person. Because each person's life, evolution, thought patterns, and emotions are different. Even the composition of their blood is different. Their mental and emotional makeup is entirely unique from others. That's why a medicine given to one person may not work the same on another. And in many cases, the effects can be very negative. Science has still not understood this reality till today. Science believes that this is just a physical body. But spiritual science fully understands that behind this physical body, there are 4 more bodies. Our physical body is the annamya sharira, the body made of food. It is called the annamya kosha, the food sheath. It is formed from what we eat. Behind this lies the pranamaya sharira, the body of vital energy. Beyond that is the manomaya sharira, the mental body. Go deeper still, and you reach the vijnanamaya sharira, the body of wisdom and discernment. And at the deepest level lies the spiritual body, the anandamaya sharira, the bliss sheath. Any disease that manifests in the physical body could have started from any of these bodies. It could have originated from the vital energy, that is prana. From the mind, from the intellect or wisdom body, or even from the subtle imprints of the soul, the karmic patterns. Modern science doesn't even consider this possibility yet. So, isn't that ignorance? Because we do not understand this. We don't even speak in the language of this higher knowledge. A person simply assumes that none of this exists, that there's nothing beyond what we can see. But when one gains true understanding of this, it becomes the subject of deep research for many years. Science has discovered that our body stores negative energies. And once these negative energies enter the body, they do not leave easily. That's why, when someone becomes sick, they do not recover quickly. Your nails grow, your hair grows. You can cut them, and you feel no pain. That means this is a form of negative energy in the body being expelled in that way. Science has studied this. If a dead body is buried in the ground, and a thorough observation is done. For example, how long were the nails? How long was the hair? What was the condition of the body at the time of burial? And if the body is exhumed after 3 months, then studies show that the nails and hair have grown, even though the person is dead. So what conclusion is drawn? That the negative energies present in our physical body do not dissipate quickly, even after death, even after the body is left behind, even after death. Energy still remains in the body. And after repeated studies, this conclusion has been drawn. That these are the negative energies of the body, which remain even after death, and only slowly fade away. That is why, when someone falls ill, they do not recover so easily. Now where do these negative energies come from? What is their origin? In this too, we are in a state of complete ignorance. If we claim to be highly qualified medical doctors, even then, we have no answers to many of these mysteries in today's time. Just look, each one of us breathes in and out. We inhale and exhale air. The person standing next to us. The breath we just exhaled. Whether they are 6 inches or 1 foot away, they inhale that same air. In our country, with such a huge population, in many places, not even 6 inches of space remains between two people. And yet, we breathe. No one becomes ill in such close proximity and in such short spans of time. How is it that our atmosphere cleanses the breath that exits from our mouth so quickly? This is a great mystery. And this is our ignorance. Because we do not understand why this happens. Now take the Kumbh Mela as an example. At least 700 million people bathe in the same water. People stood so close together. Yet no disease spread from it. This clearly shows that the waters of the Ganga hold immense powers. Powers we are not even aware of. The Ganga originates from Gangotri. And at that point, it is merely a thin stream. So many rivers and streams join it on the way. Yet, when you bring that Ganga water to your home and store it for years, it never spoils. How mysterious is that power in the water, which even today, science does not understand. In Ganga Jal, even bones dissolve. The bodies of the dead disintegrate in it. Yet the water remains just as pure and sacred. Many of the great saints of India did intense penance, or tapasya, on the banks of the Ganga for years. They gave their very life force into it. Their entire lives ended there. So what form did their spiritual energy take within that water? How did it remain so pure through them? We have no awareness of this. This too is our ignorance. And even amidst so much ignorance, if we still believe that we are following the path of true knowledge, then that becomes a very big question. And there is no real answer to it. If you examine things at the mental level or the scientific level, gold comes from beneath the earth, diamonds come, oil comes, coal comes. How are these things formed under the earth? Science knows nothing about it. This too is a great ignorance. We extract these things and use them in our lives. But we are completely unaware of their true origin. When a mother becomes pregnant, even before the baby is born, milk begins to form in her breasts. Isn't this, too, a miracle of the divine? We have no knowledge as to why this happens. Which molecules cause it? What bodily changes bring it about? We do not know. This, too, is a form of deep ignorance. One that we are not even aware of. All over the world, women work more than men. A woman's body is more complex than a man's. Yes, it is a different matter that in some households, men live longer, and women live shorter lives. But biologically and structurally, a woman's body is far more intricate than a man's. Yet, you'll be surprised to know that on average, women live 5 to 10 years longer than men. If a man lives up to 80 years, a woman can live up to 90 years. These statistics are globally verified. Of course, in certain specific families, men may have lived longer than the women. But if you view it from a global perspective, the lifespan of women is longer than that of men. What's even more astonishing is that Despite doing more work than men, women still live longer. And till today, no clear or convincing answer has been found to explain this phenomenon. In this way, if you observe life deeply, you will encounter many such situations and complexities, for which we have no solid solutions. This, too, is a form of our ignorance. And to eliminate this ignorance, all of science is dedicated to it. Yet, in this journey, there hasn't been enough progress to bring satisfaction to everyone. Not enough that we can say, yes, we have found true answers. Similarly, if you move towards spiritual science, which very few people truly know, the depth of this science is such that even great scholars find it impossible to comprehend fully. Take, for example, what is the soul? Our entire life runs based on the soul. It functions based on our consciousness. But what is consciousness? What is the soul? Even spiritual science does not have a fully satisfying answer to this. It is said that whenever we perform any action or karma, there is always some reaction to it, some result or outcome. So, throughout life, a person continues to act. Good or bad deeds keep getting accumulated. Then it is said that if a person reaches the state of samadhi or ecstasy, the final result of all his karmas becomes zero. Meaning, the person becomes completely pure. But first of all, what is the state of samadhi? Science does not know this. Spiritual science has some understanding of it. But even then, how do all karmas become nullified in that state? That remains a great mystery. Yet, it is said to happen. And this itself is a profound science. But the world knows very little about spiritual knowledge. First of all, very few people are even interested in spirituality. Science, of course, takes no interest in it at all. And even in our scriptures, though they describe the systems of karma, there is no scientific explanation behind how it works. Today's spiritual seekers, those who walk this path, do try to understand why this happens. But their understanding in this direction is next to nothing. It is no longer like in ancient times, where one could simply say, "Do this," and people would follow. Now the mind asks, "Why should I do this?" And no answer is given. But the modern person, or the modern seeker, tries to connect spirituality with science, but finds almost no success in doing so. Because this is a field that can be known only subjectively. You cannot prove it objectively. And that creates great difficulty. Science is capable of doing many things. Science knows that water is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. But science doesn't know that if you simply combine hydrogen and oxygen in any way, water doesn't form. After many years of study, it was concluded: water is formed only when there is a spark. When electric current is passed through the elements, only then does water come into being. Now, when that water is turned into steam and raised to high temperatures, hydrogen and oxygen separate again. But there is no trace of the current that made the water. The most astonishing part is, in our body, electric current is active. It has been observed that using the body's electrical current, even a low-voltage bulb can be lit. But science still cannot understand what role this current plays in the body. We draw blood from the body, test it, and measure levels of hemoglobin, sugar, and so on. But what is the role of this current that is flowing inside us? The blood structure inside the body is completely different. What I mean is, there is no end to our ignorance. We simply don't know. And so, finally the question arises: if we are living in so much ignorance, then what is the stairway to knowledge, through which this ignorance can be destroyed? This ignorance can only end when we become one with the Supreme Divine. Only then can we attain that supreme knowledge, that great realization. You all must have heard the story of Shvetaketu. After completing his studies at the ashram, when he returned home, he was so full of pride that he didn't even bow to his father. Instead, he began to display his knowledge, thinking his father would be proud. But his father asked him just one question: have you known that one from whom everything arises? Have you known that one source from whom all knowledge originates? Shvetaketu replied, that was never taught to me. So his father said, take these 400 cows and go live in the forest. Only when they become 800, return. What you must do there, you will come to know. Many years later, he returned. In that forest, he had learned to live in silence, to dwell in emptiness. And from that emptiness, the divine entered within him. When he finally came back after many years, the Guru sent him home. When his father saw him returning, there was such a divine light on his face that even the father could not bear to look at him. Without even meeting him, he quietly left the house. The meaning of this story is simple. When true knowledge awakens within you, you attain everything. Other knowledge changes every day. We witness this ourselves. A medicine that heals us today becomes ineffective a year later. But if we live in union with the divine, then the knowledge, the medicine, the health that comes from that divine remains with us always. It does not change daily. A similar story occurred with Rabindranath Tagore. After his book Gitanjali was published, an elderly wise man who lived near his house asked him, "Have you known that one from whom all knowledge flows?" Rabindranath would remain silent. And whenever this man came toward his house, Rabindranath would leave through the back door. He couldn't face him. One day, filled with restlessness, he sat early in the morning in the forest. At that moment, divine light dawned within him. How did it appear? He saw the morning moon. A faint, soft moon, reflected in the river, also in a pond, even in dirty water. And suddenly, he realized, it is the same one moon in all places. God is everywhere, in every particle. I had never felt this before. In that moment, a sudden illumination arose in him. His face radiated light. As he walked home, every person he encountered, he embraced, saying, God is in you too. Just as the divine appears in rivers and drains, He is in every human being too. Finally, he met that same old man. And the man looked at him and immediately understood. Now you have known. Now you have realized that supreme power. The point is, until you enter into that supreme power, until that power pulls you in, you may be doing everything, but you'll remain ignorant. And when you become one with that divine power, only then will true knowledge arise within you. When that true knowledge begins to radiate, it will reflect in your speech, in your face, in your aura. And every person will be drawn to you. Not by your words, but by that inner light. So in the end, I would only say, there is no end to ignorance. Be it physical, mental, or spiritual. It is all ignorance. The only difference lies in its levels. Until you become one with the Supreme Divine. Until you become completely empty. And then become supremely empty. And merge into the great emptiness of the Divine. Only then will the light that dawns within you become an infinite, never-ending light. At that point, you no longer need scriptures. By the radiance of that light, you will become completely filled with knowledge. It will be your own knowledge. And then, there will be no difference between you and God. You will become godlike. You will move into the timeless realm, beyond time. That is why, when someone once asked Jesus Christ, "What is the sign of God?" He replied, "God is there, where time is not there. Only when you go beyond time, when you no longer sense time, when you dissolve completely into the cosmic vastness and become one with it, only then will that light enter you, and you will experience it. It is through this experience alone that your ignorance will dissolve. And this light, you cannot give it to anyone. You cannot write about it. You cannot explain it. It is a deeply personal experience. And anyone who wishes to walk this path must attain that light for themselves. And in that very experience, all your karmas will dissolve. You will become liberated in life. You will become fully illuminated. And all your ignorance, at every level, will come to an end. This is the supreme grace of the divine. When you become immersed in that light, so immersed that you no longer even feel the passage of time, you won't even realize how much time has passed. This state occurs after the stage of pure consciousness. When you enter a state of superconsciousness, beyond awareness, only when you become one with the universe will this state arise. And once you are in that state, you will have no desire to return, because it holds such absorption, such bliss, such nectar. And with that, I end today's discourse. May the Divine grant you the opportunity to enter into that power, so that you may become truly wise, and your ignorance may be dissolved.